As we come in closer and closer to midwinter, the issue of Kemach Yashan and Isur Hadash is rising. Why? Because as the days are going, there's more Kemach Hadash in the market and less Kemach Yashan. That's the reality. And we all know it's strictly Isur Deoraita. It's a clear pasuk in Parashat Emor. The Torah says, "Belehem v'kali v'chamei lo tochilu ad etzim hayom hazeh." It's a Gemara meforeshet, Masechet Menachot daf samech. It's a Mishnah meforeshet in the end of Masechet Orla. It's the pshat of the sugya, Masechet Rosh Hashanah daf lamed. Most of the Tanaim and Amoraim agree that's Isur Deoraita. Most of the Rishonim agree it's Isur Deoraita. Shitat Arif, Rambam והראש, 3 עמודי הוראה. Arif במסכת קידושין, בדף ל"ז. עובדי אצל מחלוקת אל המשנה. הריף פוסק רבי אליעזר, חדש אסור מן התורה. הרמב"ם פרק י' מאכלות אסורות בהלכה ב'. says it clearly, חדש אסור מן התורה. בין בארץ, בין בחוץ לארץ, בין בפני הבית, בין שלא בפני הבית, always, everywhere, חדש אסור מן התורה. המאירי והריטב"א בחידושיהם לקידושין דף ל"ז. also, פסקין, חדש אסור מן התורה. ספר מצוות גדול לרבנו משה מקוצי, בלווין קמ"ו, שזה חדש אסור מן התורה. הרעביה, סימן תקכ"ז, שזה חדש אסור מן התורה. בכל מקום, most of the ראשונים. And that's what Tur is asking also, like his father הראש, בסימן רש צדיק ג' ביורה דעה. And מרן בשולחן ערוך, מרן הבית יוסף, בשולחן ערוך, יורה דעה, סימן רש צדיק ג' סעיף ב', מרן is concluding, חדש אסור מן התורה, בכל מקום. בין בארץ, בין בחוץ לארץ, בין בשל ישראל, בין בשל גויים. So it's a strictly Isur until the 16th of Nisan, and in Chutz La'aretz we have to wait an extra day till the 17th of Nisan because of Sefeka Deyoma, and then by the end of 17th of Nisan, then the Hadash becomes Yashan, and everything is permitted. And recently, some Rabbi is coming up with the idea of Safek Sefeka, and this word Safek Sefeka is catchy. People like to hear Safek Sefeka, but they don't help this Rabbi. They're not helping. That's not coming from a lot of knowledge talking like this. Reality and from the Torah. Reality, so much Hadash in the market as the days are coming, after Hanukkah especially, and as we're coming closer to Pesach, the market is flooded with Hadash. We found ourselves in one of the bakeries here. He got the delivery of flour that was around this time of the year, a couple of years ago. Around this time of the year, he got a whole delivery, a whole truck full of Kemach Hadash, not Safek, not Safek Sefeka, Hadash, clearly Hadash production, which is Isur Deoraita. That's the reality. That's number one. People has to know the reality. Number two, when you look at the Sfarim and you see what kind of Safek Sefeka they used, they used Rabbi used Safek Sefeka. But what did he say? First of all, he said there is nothing to eat. That's the Metziut they were talking about. They had nothing to eat because in Europe, as Arosh explains it in Teshuvah, Klal Bet Siman Aleph, says Arosh over there, the land, the fields in Europe used to be covered with snow most of the winter. And most likely the snow was starting to melt, coming closer to Pesach. Many years the snow did not melt until after Pesach. So they planted only after Pesach. That was strictly so Hadash. Many other years, the snow started to melt before Pesach, so they were planting, starting before Pesach, going through after Pesach. So because of this kind of situation, they had a Safek. They didn't know if the Tvuah was planted before Pesach or after Pesach. If it was planted 3 days before Pesach, it's enough. As long as the Tvuah Mashrish gets roots in the ground, that's good enough. It has to be roots 3 days before 16 Benisan, that's good enough. But if they didn't have a chance to do that before Pesach, or if they did some of the Tvuah before Pesach and some of it after Pesach, so that's the issue. So the poskim says, we don't know. Maybe they planted the Tvuah before Pesach, and even if they did the Tvuah after Pesach, maybe the Tvuah that they got, it's not from the new production, it's from the old production of last year. The harvest of last year, not from this year's harvest, from last year's harvest. So that's completely Yashan. But here in America, it's not a Safek. If the snow is covering the land or does not cover the land, or we don't know for sure, maybe it's before Pesach. No, we know for sure. There is what's called a summer harvest that's clearly planted in the summer, not before Pesach. There's no Safek, maybe it's before Pesach or after Pesach. What the Safek Sefeka, the poskim were using, maybe it was planted before Pesach. This is not planted before Pesach. The Tuah that's growing in the summer, it's planted after Pesach. That's number one. Number two, Bet Yosef be'Even Ezer v'Siman Memhe says over there, any Safek, even if it's a Rov and a Mi'ut, but the Rov and the Mi'ut ratio is on a changing process. That's not called a Safek. We're not following the Rov in such a Safek. We're Hoshesh le'Mi'ut. So this is what the situation of Hadash is. That's on a daily basis, and maybe on a minute basis, it's changing. Flour getting off the market, a new flour coming into the market. So that's a situation of even if it was a majority in the beginning of the year, yeah, right after Pesach, everything is Yashon. Yeah, closer to Sukkot, maybe a little bit starting to come to the market, but still the majority is Hadash, the majority is Yashon. As we're going through the winter, there's less Yashon in the market, and there's more Hadash in the market. That's the Mitziut. That's how it is. And therefore, that's a Safek shemishtane. That's a Rov shemishtane. Says Marav Hoshesh le'Mi'ut. We cannot rely on this. The other Safek Sefeka that some of the poskim used, and I know it's mentioned in Yalkut Yosef also, but Yalkut Yosef, you should know, the chief rabbi, he's learning Torah all day. He doesn't know the reality in America. If he knew the reality in America, he would not write this Safek Sefeka in Yalkut Yosef. Because of what we just explained. First of all, the reality is the market is flooded with Hadash as the winter getting deeper and deeper, especially after Hanukkah. Number two, Shitat Abah that they mentioned, that Abah says if the harvest was growing in the Goyim's fields outside of Israel, it's mutar, it's not asur. You look at Abah himself, look at Abah, he also says it clearly. He lived in Europe 400 years ago. They had nothing to eat. He said himself, we have to find a way to let people what to eat. What do you want people to do? All the harvest is the Hadash. What are we going to do? So he found that Hitar Dahuk because of what? Sha'at Dahak Gadol. People had nothing to eat, so he came up with this idea. He himself did not like the idea, but he concluded it because it was a Sha'at Dahak. And even with this Sha'at Dahak in Europe, majority of the Gedolim, Ashkenaz Gedolim, they all disagree with him. He was Ashkenaz, Rabbeinu Yoel Sirkish. But Ashkenaz Gedolim disagree with him. Gon Rabbi Akiva Eiger disagree with him. Hashagat Ariyah disagree with him. Agra, if you look at the Agra, Biur Agra Siman Resh Tzadik Gimel, Biur De'ah, he pushes the opinion of the Bach with two hands. And he says, כבר הכו אותו על קודקודו, גדולי האחרונים. ויפה להם השתיקה. Don't mention even the Bach, he says. And it's not nitztaref to any Safek. That the Vilna Gaon says it. Look, you can see it yourself. You don't need me to say it to you. Read it. So Shitat Abah is Shitat Dehuya. We're not mitzaref this Shita, especially Bach says himself, there's nothing to eat. So we're coming and we're forced to come up with the Hitar Dahuk. So here in America, there is nothing to eat. Baruch Hashem, now there is what to eat. Baruch Hashem, Hashem always will continue. But yeah, it's not Sha'at Dehak. It's not the case. There is nothing to eat. There is what to eat. All what it takes from the business people, from the owner of the restaurants or the bakeries, is to make a phone call, to make the phone call and to do the order and to ask for Yashon. That's what it takes. You're not going to miss any product. You can find 99.99% from all product. You can make it Yashon or found it Yashon. All what it takes is a phone call. That's what it is. And Baruch Hashem, almost everywhere in New York, you can find Kemach Yashon. The only place that it's not corrected, that it's not fixed, it's Queens. That's very sad. And I spoke with the rabbis of the Vad, Rabbi Walcher and Rabbi Steinberg, and I begged him to make it in Queens also Kemach Yashon, at least in a few places. So, because it is so deoraita for us, according to Harambam and the Maran Shulchan Aruch, most of the poskim. So there is Shitat Abah. But most of the poskim, and with the Sephardim poskim, you're not going to find the Sephardi posek that says it's mutar. And Rabbeinu Ovadia Yosef did not rely on this Sefeka. The Rav himself told us when he came to America, he didn't want to eat the bread till they got him Kemach Yashan bread. And he told us, when you go to America, be careful. Don't eat from the bread in America unless you get Kemach Yashan. And the Rav is the master of Sefeka. No one in this generation knew to do Sefeka more than the Rav. So these young rabbis that they're coming up with Sefeka, if the Rav himself didn't do Sefeka, how can they do Sefeka? It's a gimmick. Don't listen to this. The Shu'anim Ketarim, Habrim Kiramim, don't listen to this. Listen to Maran Rabbeinu Ovadia Yosef. He says not to eat anything in America if it's not clearly checked that that's Yashan. That's the opinion of our Gedol Ador of Maran Rabbeinu Ovadia Yosef. If we're going to be mitchazek in this, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Be'ezrat Hashem, will have mercy on us. נזכה שכל הכשרות in Queens will be fixed, ובעזרת השם ובי זוכים לגאולה השלמה במהרה בימינו, אמן ואמן.